All right, welcome to another edition of YPS Season 7, Episode 3 today. And today happens to be storytelling. As a child and as a public speaker, we don't always have to speak. We need to also write a book. We need to come up with the thing that is in our mind. And today we are going to blow your mind with a lot of stories from these beautiful children. As you can see in my hands are books that different children from different schools have written. And our children are not exception of that. Today, they have the stage to deliver to us stories from all angles. And I know that you will enjoy it. My name is Rosemary Osei-Kofo, and I am going to be your host for today. Let's welcome the first contestant to give us a new story of her own, of his own, that has no plagiarism. Let's give it up to the first contestant.
Good morning, distinguished panel of judges, guests, teachers, parents, and fellow participants. My name is Kweku Setra Kotapel, and I am 11 years old. Today, I am here to tell you a story about friendship. My story is titled The Golden Baobab Tree. Once lived a man called Abu. Abu was a farmer. He lived in a small village called Kani in the northern region where lots of baobab trees grew. One day, whilst returning from his millet farm, he heard desperate cries. He turned the corner of his head and saw that there was a little hornbill captured in a hunter's trap. Though wary, he freed the bird, and then he told the bird, "Go, little one, the sky is yours." A few days later, at dawn, the bird returned and circled Abu's hut and put the seed at his feet. It looked like a seed Abu had never seen before. So Abu planted it next to the great baobab tree in his community. 1 week later, a sapling grew. It was the tallest sapling he had ever seen. And then, not long after that, it started to bear fruit. Abu was not selfish, so he shared the fruit with his neighbors. And his neighbors were marveled by the sweet taste and medicinal powers of this fruit. Word spread fast. People from far and near came to taste Abu's fruits to heal their diseases. Then Abu kept on remembering that one act of kindness he had done. Many years went by and Abu grew old. Once Abu became very sick. He could not tend his farm because he was sick. And the people in his community, grateful for the generosity he had shown them earlier, decided to help him by bringing him food, water, and medicine until Abu could stand on his feet again. The moral of the story here is that when you give out kindness, it plants a seed in the hearts of others. Every good turn deserves another. Thank you for your time.
Kind, helpful, and ready to stand up for friends. She loved drawing, reading storybooks, and playing with her friends. But in her class, there's a girl named Abena. She was big and liked to tease and bully other students. She laughed at their mistakes, called them names, and sometimes even pushed them. Most kids were too scared to stop her or say anything. One day, during break time at a Niger primary school, Abba saw Abena teasing the smallest boy, Kofi, in her class. Abena took Kofi's book and shouted, "You got 2/10 in dictation and can't even draw. Even a KG student is better than you," and started laughing. Kofi looked sad, scared, started to cry and wished he could disappear. Abba remembered something her mother always told her. Courage isn't about being the strongest. Courage is standing up for what is right, even if you are small. So Abba took a deep breath. Her heart was pounding, but stepped forward and said clearly, "Abena, stop. It hurts Kofi when you tease him. We all came to school to learn and play together, not to make anyone feel sad or cry. Adoma, one of Abba's friends, spoke up. Yes, leave him alone. I like his drawing. Another student added. Teasing is not nice, Abena. Abena looked around and for the first time she realized that everyone was unhappy with her behavior. Abena tried to become kinder. She wasn't perfect, but the class felt happier. Abba learned something important. You don't need to be the loudest or strongest to make a difference. Sometimes a small brave voice is all it takes to stop bullying. The moral lesson of my story is, a bully may be loud, but courage and kindness are always stronger. My code is YP68. Please vote for me because I have the confidence. Thank you.
Of the village, but one day a man named Kweku heard there was gold under the ground near the river. His eyes became big. Gold will make me rich, he said. So Kweku started digging near the river at night. Soon other people joined him. They dug deeper and deeper. They were looking for gold, but they were driven by greed. Slowly, the beautiful river began to change. The clear water turned brown and muddy. The fishes disappeared. The farms dried up. One morning, the children ran to the river to drink water, but they stopped. The river was sick. The village chief shook his head sadly and said, when greed enters a heart of a person, it can destroy the home of everyone. Kweku looked at the dying river and felt ashamed. He realized something very important, that the gold he wanted was not more precious than the river. My dear audience, gold cannot quench our thirst. Gold cannot grow our food. Gold cannot give us life, but clean water can. So let us remember, when greed destroys nature, everyone suffers. But when we protect nature, everyone lives. My code is YP60. Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hamon Richard from Jara International School, Grade 8. Today, I'm here to narrate a story which will have a great impact on your life. To begin, the title of my story is The Boy and the Hammer. Long ago lived a boy in the land of Asesebiaso named Akoto. Akoto wanted to travel around the world, but because he's bad-tempered, he wasn't able to travel around the world. Akoto was sad. His dad placed surveillance on Akoto. Akoto didn't know. The dad watched Akoto's every move. He got angry when he saw Akoto being bullied. So he called Akoto. Akoto, why are you so bad-tempered, he said. Akoto replied gently, Daddy, please, you know it's not my fault. The dad sent him to the back of his house, near the yard. He gave him some bag of nails and a hammer. He told him, anytime you are angry, hammer a nail to the wall. On the first day, Akoto hammered 37 good nails. On the second day, Akoto hammered 21 nails. Slowly but eventually, there were days in which Akoto did not hammer any nail on the wall. He happily told his father, Daddy, today I didn't hammer any nail at all. The father was so happy, took him back to the yard, told him that Akoto, now anytime you are not angry, remove a nail from the wall. Akoto didn't understand his dad's words. So Akoto removed each nail anytime he's not angry. Slowly but eventually again, the nails on the walls were finished. Akoto happily told his dad that they are finished. The dad took a nail. He showed Akoto the fence. He told Akoto that, Akoto, what do you see in the fence? Holes, said Akoto. Akoto didn't understand. The dad continued. Akoto, the hammer represents your anger. The holes represents the pain in which you cause the person. So Akoto always learn to control your anger. Akoto learned to control his anger slowly. He was able to travel around the world. Moral lesson from the story. We should always control our anger because not everybody can revive or resolve from the pain they've gotten. Thank you. eyes filled with water. She started sweating like crazy. She tried to continue but couldn't anymore. Water, water, she begged, gasping for air. Everyone burst out laughing at her misery. Her friends rushed to get water, milk, and a spoonful of sugar for her. After what seemed like an eternity, she finally calmed down. Looking at the remaining jollof rice, she shook her head. I will never do this again. The moral lesson behind the story is never let your friends dare you in eating a super spicy food. Thank you.
A young girl from a small village in Ghana. Maya's life was marked with hardship. Her parents struggled to make ends meet, working multiple jobs just to put food on the table. Despite all these challenges, Maya's parents instilled in her a love for education and a determination for success. As Maya grew older, her love for education only intensified. She spent hours poring over her books and dreaming of one day becoming a doctor and helping her community. However, her dreams were soon put to the test. Her village was hit with a severe drought, and her family's financial situation only worsened. Her parents were left with no other option than to drop her out of school. Devastated, Maya had to help her family make ends meet. As the years went by, Maya refused to give up. She found a job as a helper at a local market and saved every penny she earned. She continued to study, but with broken pencils and scraps of papers. Maya never gave up, and through her determination and resilience, she was able to get a scholarship at a prestigious university in Accra. Through her tireless efforts and determination, she was able to earn top grades and eventually becoming a doctor. Maya never gave up. She became one of the greatest minds. This story tells us that determination is key and we should never give up on our dreams. Thank you.
The secret that was needed. There was once a couple, Karim and Andrea. Karim was always dreaming of a secure future. Amina was laughing, but she had one weakness. She could never keep a secret from her closest friends. One day, Karim found a hidden treasure, gold and jewels that would change their lives forever. He brought it home and whispered, "My love, this is a very big bliss, but promise me you will keep it for years." Amina agreed. She met it. A secret I had. Soon, she shared it among her intimate friends, believing they would guard her confidence. But whispers have wings. The news spread. Greedy ears listened. One night, armed robbers stormed their home. The treasure was gone. Karim's dream vanished. Amina wept. She wept bitterly. A secret is a treasure itself. Once shared carelessly, it can destroy the happiness you hope to protect. So remember, trust is fragile, silence is golden, and not every truth is meant to be told. These are my moral lessons. This story reminds us that not every truth is meant to be told. Guarding secrets wisely can protect the happiness you hope to preserve. My name still remains Muhammad Khadija. YP71 is my code. Thank you.
Do you have a bestie? Someone you can share your good or bad news with without being judged. Imagine you losing such a friend. My name is Kylie Oklujaba, and the title of my story is The Frenemies Web. Anaya and Brielle were like two peas on a pod. They were inseparable and did everything together. One day, a new girl transferred to their school called Marissa. Marissa was beautiful and smart. During snack break, Anaya went up to Marissa and introduced herself. She gave her a piece of paper saying, with her home address on it, saying if she ever felt lonely, she could visit her at home. The next day, Marissa visited Anaya at her house. She stood at the gate for a while, watching the two girls giggle. Angrily, she walked to the poolside and squeezed herself between them, talking to Anaya for a long time. Brielle felt lonely, so she got up and headed to the changing room. Marissa approached her and said, "Why did you stop me then? You were rude to me. What do you want from me?" And Marissa said, "I want you to know that I'm the new bestie and I don't share my bestie with anyone." Brielle said, "You just came and you want to separate us. That's not happening. It's Brielle and Anaya forever." Brielle said firmly. But Marissa said, "We shall see," and headed to the poolside with tears flooding through her eyes. Anaya asked her, "Marissa, what's wrong?" And Marissa told her, "It's your friend Brielle. She said that I'm ugly just like you. And I was just trying to apologize for the way I behaved. But she said mean things about both of us. She said you can't even make a bed and we deserve each other because we are two dirty pigs." Anaya went to Brielle. Anaya told her Marissa that, "Are you sure? I've known Brielle for 3 years and she would never do that." Marissa said, "Don't you believe me? I swear I will never do that." So Anaya went to Brielle and asked her if it was true. Brielle said that it's not true and defended herself. But Anaya did not believe her because Brielle once told her her housemaid made her bed for her. Anaya told her to leave her house and never talk to her again. When Brielle was taking her things, she saw Marissa coming and told her that, "I know you are happy now you have separated us." And Marissa said that, "I can't believe Anaya is so gullible. She's such a dump." Not realizing Anaya was just behind her and heard everything she said. Feeling ashamed, Anaya apologized to Brielle, and together they sent Marissa away, restoring their friendship. The moral of my story is we should never be envious of anybody and we should never lie because these two things come with the punishment. Thank you.
Today, I'm here to tell a story entitled The Special Girl. In one small Ghanaian village lived a girl named Ikria. Ikria was kind, gentle, and loved by all. But Ikria was given a special gift. She could communicate to animals. Just imagine if we were given the opportunity to communicate with animals. One day, her village faced a severe drought. A drought which killed many. Crops withered. People worried. Ikria went to the forest and asked the animals for help. The animals gathered together and called the wise old tortoise. The wise old tortoise gave her a solution. She said there will be a test. This test was a test of kindness and compassion. Ikria passed the test with flying colors. The wise old tortoise showed her a spring touched by no human being. Ikria uncovered the spring and the spring waters flowed through her village, saving her village. From then on, she was known as the special girl. This story, Ikria's story, tells us that with compassion and kindness, we can make a big difference in our community. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Once more, my name is Manya Michelle, and my code is YP75. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Samantha, and I am YP76. Today, I am here to share a short story that taught me a lesson about kindness and thinking beyond ourselves. Sometimes, the greatest things we do in our life is not for today. It is for the future and for the people we may never meet. Let me tell you a short story about an old man, a mango tree, and the lesson I will never forget from this story. My story is entitled The Man Who Planted Shade. When Ato was younger, he once met an old man sitting under a mango tree near his village road. The tree was big and full of fruits, and many people stopped there to take rest from the hot sun. Some ate the mangoes, some simply enjoyed the shade, and others continued their journey. Curious, Ato asked the old man, "Grandfather, did you plant this tree?" He smiled and said, "Yes, I planted this tree when I was about your age." Ato looked up at the tree and asked, "But mango trees take many years to grow. How did you know you would still be here to enjoy it?" The old man laughed gently and said something Ato will never forget. He said, "My son, I did not plant this tree for myself. I planted it for people I may never meet." He pointed down the road and continued, "When I was young, I rested under trees that I did not plant. Someone else planted them long before I arrived. Today, I am only continuing the kindness." Then he said quietly, "A good life is like planting trees. The best things we do always are not for ourselves. They are for those who come after us." Ato decided that day that he wanted to be someone who plants trees. The moral lesson from this story is that true success is not about what we gain, but about what we leave for others. So today I ask myself, am I only enjoying the shade or I am planting a tree? Because the true measure of our life is not what we take from the world. It's about what we leave behind for others. Thank you.
My name is Mercedes and my code is YP66. I'm here to talk about a story entitled The Whispers of the Forest. In a Ghanaian village where the forest whispers secrets, a young healer, Ekia, listened, learning herbs and remedies. The forest voice protected her. Ekia's potions healed the sick. The villagers asked, "How do you know?" She replied, "The forest tells." Many years passed. Ekia's wisdom grew bigger. The forest shared its mysteries of balance of life. She became the village's elder. A threat loomed. Loggers sought the forest. Ekia pleaded with the chief, saying, "The forest voice matters." The chief listened and the forest was protected. The villagers helped Ekia to plant new trees. Ekia listened to the creatures. She heard their song and she knew the forest was still alive. A young girl, Nana, sought Ekia and told her to teach her about the forest. Ekia smiled and taught her. Nana could hear the whispers of the trees, the wind, and the creatures. She was able to listen to all what Ekia did. Later, Ekia's heart smiled. The whispers of the forest remained and turned to harmony. My moral lesson is that harmony is key and also we should respect nature. Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, fellow learners and judges. I'm Dosara from Fafali. I'm YP78 and I'm a student from Jara International School. I'm here to narrate a story entitled The Young Healer. Once, in a small village called Ude, stood a hut in the middle of the village. The hut was occupied by a woman named Olivia. Even though Olivia was a good woman, she had no husband and she was barren. She couldn't have a child. This made other villagers laugh at her. They also spoke ill of her. Although Olivia did not have a child, she loved to go to the forest to cut firewood and sell them. She also had a small garden at the back of her hut where she harvested vegetables and fruit for food. This was her means for survival. One bright morning, as the sun rose, Olivia went to the forest to cut firewood as usual. After she had finished packing the firewood and was ready to leave, she heard a baby's cry in the forest. She followed the sound and there she found a little baby girl wrapped in golden cloth with white long hair lying on the ground. Immediately she touched the baby and a golden light appeared beside her and an old woman appeared. The old woman told Olivia that since she had touched the baby was now in her care, but she shouldn't make the baby girl swim in any water body or else she will grow into a big tree in the midst of that water body. Without thinking for a second, Olivia agreed to the old woman. The old woman vanished and the light disappeared. Olivia ran out of the forest with the baby, forgetting about the firewood she had packed. When she got home, she decided to name the baby Rafaela, meaning God has healed me. Rafaela grew faster than any other child in the village. She had a best friend called Martha. Though they had different backgrounds, this did not stop them from being best friends. One hot afternoon, Olivia told Rafaela to go and visit her auntie in the next village. After the two arrived, Rafaela insisted on greeting her auntie. Immediately she touched her auntie and closed her eyes. Green light shimmered around her and her auntie was healed. No one could understand what had just happened, not even Rafaela. When Olivia and Rafaela got home that evening, they discussed about the issue, and Olivia came to conclude that Rafaela had now gained some supernatural abilities. From that day, Rafaela started to heal the sick people in the village. Because of this, everybody in the village started to like Olivia and Rafaela. They also received gifts every day from the villagers. They lived happily ever after. Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Josmo Emanuela with YP67 as my nomination. I urge you all to kindly vote for me. Today, I'm here to narrate a story entitled Patience Pays. Once upon a time lived two friends named Mira and Annabelle. Mira was described to be honest, loyal, and patient, but Annabelle, on the other hand, was described to be honest, loyal, but lacked the ability to be patient. These two inseparable friends attended the same senior high school and graduated from the same university. Their dream job was becoming fashion designers. So after university, they embarked on a job interview. After one Monday morning, Annabelle went for the job interview earlier before Mira knew it. So Mira hurried to go and join her friend. But after Annabelle finished the interview, she was disqualified because she wasn't well prepared and wasn't fit for the job. Mira thought she was late, so she would be disqualified, but because she was fit for the job, she passed through for the interview. The moral lesson from this story is that we shouldn't rush in life unless we will crash. But patience is the key to success. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Anna Gifty and my code is YP79. Today, I'm here to share with you my story entitled My First Day in Achimota SHS. Growing up, I often heard people talk about Achimota School. They spoke about its great history, its discipline, and the brilliant students it produced. Each time I heard its name, one thought came in mind. One day, I'll be a student there. For me, Achimota was not just a school. It was a dream. The day I received my placement, it was unforgettable. I could hardly believe it. I was proud, happy, and grateful all at the same time. But as the day approached, my excitement slowly turned into nervousness. I asked myself many questions. Will I make friends? Will my teachers be strict? Will I be able to fit in? Then, the big day finally arrived. As I walked through the gates of Achimota School, my heart was beating fast. The campus was so large and beautiful. The tall trees, big buildings, and confident students make me realize something very important. At first, I was a little shy and lost. Everything was new, but soon I met others who were just as nervous as I was. We introduced ourselves, shared a few laughs, and then the fear I felt began to disappear. Our teachers welcomed us warmly and encouraged us that we should work hard and make most of our time there. On that day, I learned something I'll never forget. Dreams do not come true by accident. They come true through hope, determination, and self-belief. Standing there on that day was not just the beginning of my school. It was the beginning towards a journey becoming the best version of myself. And today, whenever I remember that day, I smile because it reminds me that dreams really do come true. My moral lesson is that dreams thrive where effort meets patience. Thank you.
Hello, lovely viewers, invited guests, honorable judges, fellow contestants, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nunana Adirakpaglo. I stand before you here today to narrate a story entitled Enduring Pain is a Key to Success in Life. Once, in a very busy, lonely town, lived two young girls in the dirty street. Nowhere to sleep, no one to cater for them. They were hopeless. Their faces like people who haven't eaten in 100 years. These two young girls were just abandoned by their parents when the elder one, Mia, was 5 years old and the younger one, Mabel, was just 3 years old. Their only job to do was picking rubbish on the road, as if it was their whole life. They tried to encourage people to stop improper disposal of waste. People didn't listen to them. Asked for food, asked for water, they didn't get anything, not even a crumb of bread to eat. Once, they saw a young man's daughter who was very arrogant throw rubbish on the floor. They quickly approached her and asked her politely to pick it from the floor. She didn't mind. The girls then went to the young man. The young man said, just leave her alone. She's like that. The young man said, I will teach her a lesson myself. The young man then asked the girl to get out of his car and go and buy something for herself to eat. Then he invited the young girls into his car. The young girls were very afraid, praying in their minds as if they were going to be kidnapped forever. This was a great opportunity for them to start with. The young man started sending them to school, while his daughter was there lying on the road, feeling how the young girls were feeling. The young girls started school. They grew to become successful people. Maya, the elder one, became a professional doctor, whilst Mabel became a teacher in a Cambridge school. This story teaches us that we should not give up, as the two young girls didn't, and we should not be arrogant. Thank you.
Hello, wonderful judges, viewers, parents, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Edunkaka Michelle is my name, and my code is 5P72. Today, I'm here to narrate a story entitled The Mysterious Drum. One bright afternoon, a curious boy named Kofi was walking from school to home through a quiet forest in his village. While walking, he heard a strange sound, doom, doom, doom. He was scared, but his curiosity was stronger. He decided to follow the sound. After walking for a while, he saw a drum sitting under a big tree. Immediately he touched the drum. The drum sounded doom, doom, doom. Just then, Kofi jumped back. The drum said to him, "Do not be afraid. I am the drum of truth." Just then, Kofi remembered a week ago, people were fighting of the missing chief necklace. Kofi decided to send the drum to the village. When he sent the drum to the village, he called everybody in the village. If an innocent person touched the drum, it stayed silently. But when the thief touched the drum, it made noise. Doom, doom, doom. Just then, the thief confessed. The chief was grateful for Kofi's curiosity and honesty. From that day, people respected Kofi in the village. Is that not wonderful? My moral lessons: 1, we should be curious. 2, we should be honest. 3, we should be truthful. Thank you.
The tennis court was silent as the final match began. One swing of the racket would decide everything. Good morning, everyone. My name is Achedo Aikwamo and my nominee code is YP83. Monica Seles, born on December 2nd, 1973, rose to fame as one of the most dominant players in tennis history. She represented Yugoslavia and later the United States. She was the youngest champion to receive the French Open Award in 1990. Between 1991 and 1993, she won 7 out of 8 Grand Slam tournaments she entered, showing extraordinary talent and dominance. In 1993, during a match in Hamburg, Germany, a spectator of her rival, Steph Graf, came out of the crowd and stabbed her in the upper back. Though the injuries were not severe or life-threatening, she was forced to take a 2-year leave from tennis due to trauma. In 1996, she made a strong comeback in the Australian Open and won. The moral lesson of this story is, Monica taught us that she used perseverance, determination to get to where she is. Thank you.
My name is Kasha Jason Mahama,
and my code is YPS50. The title of my story is The Lazy Goat. Long time ago in a village called Damango, there was a goat called Billy. Billy was very lazy. He would often wait for other animals to harvest food for him to eat. One dry season, other animals went to look for food for themselves, whilst Billy looked at them eating their food. So Billy was so hungry to the extent that he went to look for food for his own self. My moral lesson: the lazy man will not get food. We should all work hard. Thank you.
Good morning, distinguished panel of judges, teachers, parents, my fellow contestants and friends. I'm here to tell you a story about the short old man and the tall young boy. Once upon a time, there lived a short old man called Ejata and a tall young boy called Jojo, who lived in Kojon Krom in the western region of Ghana. Jojo and Ejata were next door neighbors, so they saw each other a lot. Anytime Jojo sees Ejata, he starts teasing. Ejata goes to tea. Ejata goes to tea. This did not please the short old man at all. So he made a report to Jojo's parents, warning him several times. In fact, Jojo's parents were so disappointed in Jojo that they summoned him to a meeting that they advised him to stop teasing people by their looks. They then marched into Ejata's house to apologize with a promise never to tease him again. The next day, when Jojo saw Ejata passing, he walked straight up to him, greeted him, and asked if they could be friends. Ejata said, "Yes, Jojo, I will be your friend." So they became very good friends. One day on a return from town, Ejata saw two young men fighting Jojo over a ball. Ejata tried to separate them, but because he was not strong enough, he couldn't. So he quickly rushed the next door neighbors, who came in to help save Jojo from the two young men. So you see, if Jojo had not stopped teasing Ejata and had not come friends, Ejata would have just walked away, and the two young men would have beaten Jojo and hurt him. This story teaches us that we should never tease people, and also when we cause pain to others, we have to apologize to them. My code is YP57. Please vote for me. Thank you.
My name is Joshua Kwame Kwama, and I'm thrilled to be here to share with you a captivating tale that has deeply touched my heart. The title of my story is The Poor White Ant Company Leader. Once upon a time, there lived three workers who worked for a company. As soon as the boss arrived, one worker would lay down and cover himself with mud.
The boss had come to distribute salaries. She distributed the salaries but deducted some amount and gave it to the muddy worker. And one of the honest workers asked her, why did she deduct some? And she replied, the muddy worker puts in more effort than you guys. After the boss left, the muddy worker said, I had the reward, but you guys keep working hard for nothing. The next day, a woman stepped out of her car and disguised herself to see what go on at the company. She saw the muddy worker was sleeping. Immediately he heard the boss was coming. He covered himself with mud. But the woman was their boss, and she said, I've seen everything. There's no place for you in my company. You are fired. And she said this to one of the honest workers, I am impressed with your work. From now, you are the manager of my company. The moral of the story is, honesty can elevate a person to higher level. My code is YP61. Please vote for me. Thank you.
My name is Teresa Baba Minayesa, and today I'm here to tell you an interesting story about honesty, courage, kindness, and respect. The title of my story is Nyameche and the Golden Tree. Long ago, there was a peaceful village surrounded by lush forests and sparkling rivers. The villagers were farmers and hunters who lived simple but happy lives. They respected their elders and gathered in the evenings to listen to stories from the chief and old storytellers. In that village lived a brave and curious young man named Nyameche. Nyameche loved nature and he loved to explore nature. One morning, while exploring nature, he found a footpath that led further into the forest. His curiosity got the better of him and he decided to follow the footpath. As he was following it, he came across an elderly woman fetching firewood. Nyameche offered to help her carry it to her house in the forest. The woman thanked Nyameche. On his way home, he came upon a beautiful golden tree standing in the middle of a clearing. Its leaves shone brightly in the sunlight, and its fruits looked like small pieces of gold. Amazed by what he saw, Nyameche ran back to the village to tell the elders what he saw. Some villagers were excited, but some were afraid because they believed the tree might be protected by spirits. The chief decided that they should go together to see the tree for themselves. When they got to the place, they saw a wise old tortoise sitting quietly under the golden tree. The tortoise spoke slowly and said that the tree was special and only those with honest and kind hearts could touch its fruit. The villagers were silent, wondering who would be brave enough to try. Nyameche stepped forward bravely and spoke respectfully to the tortoise. He answered the tortoise's questions truthfully and showed courage. Seeing this, the tortoise allowed him to pick one golden fruit. When Nyameche brought it back to the villagers believed it was a sign of prosperity. From that day on, the story of Nyameche and the golden tree was told to teach children that honesty, kindness, courage, and respect always bring good fortune. My code is YP82. Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. My name is Marcella, and I am YP85. Today, I am here to narrate the story entitled A Crack Pot. Once ago, there was a water carrier who had 2 clay pots. Every morning, he carried them on a pole across his shoulders to fetch water from a river. One pot was perfect, but the other one had a crack in it. By each time they reached home, the cracked pot had all a needle's worth of it water. The perfect pot was proud, but the cracked pot was ashamed. One day, it said to the man, "I am sorry, because of my crack, we lose water every day." But the man smiled and said, "Have you noticed the flowers along the road?" The cracked pot looked at the road and saw beautiful flowers growing along its side of it. The man said, "Because of your crack, now every time we walk, we'll be able to water crops, which now it creates my home." The cracked then understood that even our weakness can create something more beautiful in the world. Today, I am here to tell you that everything that you think is an imperfection in your life can help make your world more beautiful.
My name is Farhatia Abdulmumin. Today, I am here to share a story about a simple word that carries a powerful meaning. A word that represents trust, honesty, and the kind of character that makes people believe in you. That word is Penny, a crown of truth. One day, my grandmother and I were walking to the market. The sun was bright and the world was busy with people carrying baskets and greeting one another. Then a woman saw us from afar and shouted, "Michiamo Pepefo." But when I heard the word Pepefo, I suddenly felt uncomfortable. Why did she call us that? Why did she add that word? I looked at my grandmother. Instead of feeling embarrassed, she smiled with excitement. "Grandma, why are you happy she called us that?" My grandmother laughed gently and said something I'll never forget. She said, "When people call you Pepeni, they are saying something very special. They are saying someone they can trust." That was the first time I began to understand the meaning of that word. Sometimes people said it proudly, sometimes people whispered, and it made me wonder, was it something I should hide? But one day, I learned something beautiful.
Pepperoni comes from an account word, periperini, people who tell the truth, people you can trust even when no one is watching. Have you ever wondered why nuns are trusted as security posts? And why Musa Adege to say, don't pass, and you know he meant it? That is the power of honesty. When I learned that, something inside me changed. Pepperoni was not something to hide. Pepperoni was something to protect. But the first person who truly showed me what Pepperoni was not a leader and not someone famous, it was my mother. She told me something I'll never forget. She said, and I quote, "When you speak the truth, your heart sleeps peacefully." And she added, meaning good name is better than riches. She taught me that your name matters and the way you live your lives become the story people remember. That day on my way to the market, I thought Pepperoni was something to feel shy about, but my grandmother knew better. She smiled because she understood the power of that word, and over time I began to understand it too. It's a reminder that our actions build our names. Honesty is not something you use only when it is easy. It is something we choose every day, because a person's treasure is not money, not power, not fame. It is trust, and trust begins with truth. So the moral lesson of this story is simple. The names you build through honesty travel farther than the names you are given at birth. So today, I carry this lesson with pride because my name is Pepperoni. Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mamia Bena Adamakoto. My code is YP64. The title of my story is a tale of love and resilience. At the end of this story, you would know the meaning of Funtum Funefu, Denchem Funefu. Once upon a time, in the kingdom of Dache Asemunti, the sun was so bright, the weather so hot, that you would have to ask the local royalty for their special shea butter recipe for your skin to deal with the weather. Nana Kwesi Edinkra Hine sat majestically on his blackened stool. His kente cloth shone like a vibrant river of gold. Beside him was Princess Abena Huofe Jiafin. Her beauty as refined as Jiafin, the wooden comb she was named after. Her beautiful blue eyes were like lightning in a deep ocean. Her skin so soft, like a newborn baby's cheek. Every man in the village dreamed of being her husband. Tired of the endless bickering, the king declared as Anakwesi died thereby, to marry the princess, you must retrieve a feather from the white hornbill of the whispering palms. It is a spirit's bed that only appears to those with the grace of the earth and the purest hearts. Two bold men stepped forward to claim the challenge. Kofi Wawaba, he was built like a baobab tree with a heart of pure solid gold, named after the hardy seed of the Wawa tree. Kofi had immense strength. However, the ancestors might have run out of brain juice by the time they got to his head. He's a sweet guy. He could build you a palace with his bare hands, but may forget which forest he left it in. Then there's Kwame Denchem, known as the crocodile. He was as smooth as fresh shea butter. He was the kind of guy that could sell you your own goods and have you thanking him for the bargain. Every grandmother in the village warned their daughters about him, and cheer! They ignored them. The king declared, you may begin your quest. Kofi charged into the forest like he was late for his own wedding festival. On the first day, he was almost eaten alive by fire ants. On the second, he almost drowned into a river. By the third, he ate the wrong berries and spent hours apologizing to 17 different mahogany trees. Seeing his struggle, the bird dropped one perfect shimmering feather for him. Kofi fell to his knees shouting, Nananom Medamwase, ordered a huge bowl of fufu and spicy aponche krakra with a bowl of palm wine to wash things down. However, as Kofi emerged from the forest, Kwame came out of nowhere. He hit his head with a warmer. Kofi collapsed. Hey! Asenabo! The matter reached the palace. At the palace, after a long interrogation, the king handed over the final verdict to the Ochami. The Ochami stood there, his face turned. He declared, Funtum Funefu, Denchem Funefu. 2 bodies, yet they share 1 stomach. You were sent on this quest to bring glory to the stool. But Kwame forgot that when one body cheats, the whole body suffers a belly ache of lies. Kofi was given the princess's hand in marriage. Kwame was asked to cut down and weed the palace's forest for them forever. The moral lesson of the story is that cheating and deceit isn't fair. It isn't a good thing. Hard work pays off, even though you may be scarred and injured. I am Mamia Bena Adomakoto. Don't settle for the rest. YP64 is the best. Vote for YP64. Thank you.
Good morning, respected judges, teachers, parents, and my fellow pupils. My name is Mama Amasaratufo, and today the title of my story is The Farmer and the Golden Seed. Early one morning, a hard-working farmer was planting crops on a small piece of land. The sun was rising, and the soil was cool beneath his hands. As he dug into the earth, his tool struck something unusual. Curious, before he could understand what it was, an old man suddenly appeared beside him. The old man looked at the farmer and said, "If you plant that seed." The farmer held the seed in his hands. Every day he watered it. He placed it where the sunlight touched the soil. Days passed, then weeks, but nothing happened. People walking by started laughing at, "Ha ha ha! Why are you wasting your time?" they mocked. That seed will never grow. But the farmer refused to give up, and he continued watering the soil and cared for the seed with patience and hope. Then one morning, something amazing happened. A small tiny green shoot finally pushed through the soil. The farmer's eyes were filled with joy. He continued to take care of the plant until it grew taller and stronger. Soon, the plant bore beautiful golden fruits that were worth a great deal of money. The farmer became very wealthy. The same neighbors that once laughed at him now came to his house, begging him to share some of the fruits with him. The farmer looked at them calmly and said, "When this plant had not yet grown, you laughed at me and mocked my hard work. But now you have succeeded, you come for its rewards." The farmer took his harvest and used the wealth to care for his family and improve his farm. With that, everyone remembered the lesson they learned. Moral lesson: be patient and never give up. With time and dedication, success will come. Thank you.
Long ago, in a small village, a curious boy called Kwame heard a story about a magical golden drum that could give bravery, kindness, and wisdom to anyone with a pure heart. Determined to find it, Kwame went into a forest. Don't say you can't do it. Instead, encourage yourself to do it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Betty Sena Kwetwadu, and today I stand before you to tell you a story entitled The Reward of Integrity. On the island of Orino lived a woman named Tina, whose spirit was as steady as the ocean breeze. Tina wasn't just a worker, but she was a source of nature, finding purpose in every task. Day by day, she poured her heart into her work, treating every small opportunity as a step toward her dream. One bright morning, Tina heard of a job vacancy and decided to pursue it. She believed this would give her the opportunity in the future and slowly growing her own business. Excited and full of hope, Tina went for the interview and got the job. Her first few days went well, but slowly, a colleague named Sabina started to undermine Tina's work. Sabina forced Tina try to take credit for Tina's hard work. Tina really hated this, but every time she tried to report Sabina to Mr. Williams, the CEO, Sabina always found a way to stop her. One day, Tina was tired of it. She chose she won't bear with this anymore. So, she came to work very early. Gathering her courage, she went up to him and explained the situation to him. Mr. Williams' expression turned stern, and he summoned Sabina to his office. He had planned on promoting Sabina, but after hearing what had actually happened, he promoted Tina instead. and Sabina finally received the wake-up call she needed. The moral lessons. Number 1, hard work pays off. And number 2, don't leave your job completely to someone and still expect to benefit from it. My code is YP84. Please vote for me. Thank you.
Good morning, honorable judges, teachers, parents, and my friends. My name is Isaac Nisaki. Today, I'm very happy to share with you a folk story from Ghana called The Small Maraca. Long ago, in a small village in Ghana, there lived a little boy called Kwesi. Kwesi was only 6 years old. His hands were small, his feet were small, everything about him was small. But Kwesi had something special, a little maraca rattle. Not big like the drummers had, not loud like festival drums, just a small maraca. One day, the whole village was preparing for a big celebration. The drummers were practicing. Let me hear your drums. Everybody tap your knees with me. The dancers were clapping. Let me hear your clapping. Kwesi stood quietly in the corner holding his little maraca. Then Kwesi sighed and said, I'm too small to help. Just then his grandmother called him. Kwesi, yes, Grandma, she smiled and said, my child, never think you are too small. Grandma pointed at the maraca and said, shake it. Wait, Kwesi shook it again. The drummers heard it. They played louder. The dancers heard it. They danced faster. Soon, the whole village was moving with the rhythm. Then someone shouted, who is making that wonderful sound? Everyone looked around. Was it the big drummers? No. Was it the dancers? No. But it was little Kwesi with his small maraca. And from that day on, the village learned something important. You don't have to be big to do something great. If you believe small people can do big things, say yes we can.
Yes we can.
Wait, louder, yes we can.
Yes we can.
My code is 556. Please vote for me. Thank
you. Distinguished judges, fellow participants, and everyone present, good morning. My name is Brielle Bernard Andrews, and my code is YP51. Don't forget it. Today, I am here to share a story with you, a story that is very close to my heart. This is not something I read in a book, and it's not something I imagined. It is something that actually happened to me. But more than that, it is a story about love, hope, and how the smallest moments can teach us the biggest lessons. A few weeks before my birthday last year, something exciting was happening in our home. One of our dogs was about to have a litter of puppies. Then one day, it finally happened. The puppies were there. I ran outside as fast as I could to see them. And there they were, tiny little puppies, curled up beside their mother. But one puppy caught my attention. He was the smallest one and his eyes were barely open. That right there, I felt something special. I told myself, that little puppy is mine. My parents surprised me with the best news ever. They told me that this puppy was going to be my pre-birthday present. You can imagine how happy I was. From that day on, I watched him grow. At the time, he couldn't even get up. When he tried to walk, his little legs would wobble and he would fall. But soon, he started following me everywhere. To the gates, around the house, and even when I was just walking, for no apparent reason. It felt like he was my little shadow, but I felt like I didn't even own a puppy anymore. I owned a tiny bodyguard. When I turned left, he followed. When I turned right, he followed. And when I stopped, he stopped too. He felt I loved him so much. One day, I decided to come home early, and it was around 6 p.m. So we play outside together. And I was throwing a balloon up in the air, and he used all his energy his tiny body had to run toward it. And I remembered I had forgotten something inside the house, so I ran inside to go and get it. As soon as I got inside, I heard a car horn, and most of the time visitors come into our house to meet my father. So I knew it was a visitor. And my little puppy, being so small,
got too excited and ran towards the gate. The person in the steering wheel did not see my little puppy as it was too close to the tire. Then, when I came out, the car had moved and my baby was crushed. My whole world shattered right before my eyes. The person behind the steering wheel didn't even realize what had happened, but the excruciating cry of my little puppy said it all. The wonderful future I hoped for, filled with long walks with my little puppy, had been wiped away. It was all over. That day I went to my room and I cried my heart out. I asked myself questions. Why did this have to happen to a little innocent puppy? Why? But then the next morning, I woke up and I decided to go to where my puppy would have spent the night if he was still alive. And as I was sitting down, I felt something hairy brush against my leg. I turned around and to my greatest disbelief, there he was. Yes, he was badly hurt, but he was alive. Hope rushed back into my heart as I asked my parents to call the vet. The vet came and the only words I heard him say was, "It's a miracle. This could only have been a miracle." I wondered, how could it have survived? Then I asked the doctor, will he survive? The doctor said he couldn't tell. My heart sank again and tears welled up in my eyes. So then the doctor gave him his medicine, and then I pledged that day that I would take care of him. In the beginning, he could barely walk, but then every day he kept getting stronger and stronger, and very soon he was back to running around the house and chewing my slippers. But watching him recover taught me something. It taught me that sometimes in life, things happen that make us feel like all is lost. But if my little puppy was able to overcome this, then so can we. And sometimes, the smallest teachers can teach us the biggest lessons. Thank you.
All too soon, we've come to the end of episode 5 today, and our topic for today was storytelling. And today, I believe you heard of a lot of moral lessons from these young ones, and you have learned so many things from them. But to every program, there are winners, and there are people that has to also go home. But fortunately, I have to tell you, my people, today is eviction free. Wow, so that's a joy of a child when you tell them and then you do it. All right, but there are some people that we have to also acknowledge them of whatever they did. So if I mention your name, then you step down. Okay? YP51. YP56. YP56. YP65. YP79. YP62. And YP64. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to check your tags again. Who is YP56? 56. YP56. All right. So let's give it up to those in front here. They did so well. They emerged as the best storyteller for the week and for the season. Season 7 is going to have these authors from among the people. Let's clap for them one more time. So in YPS, what we do is that you don't just have to come and talk. you also need to write for us to see. And these people are going to be our new authors for the year. Let's clap for them one more time. But among them are some of them who did so well, and we want to award them with a book that somebody has written. Okay, so YP62. All right. So that's a book someone has written. We want to dash you. YP64. All right. So that's a book that somebody has written. We want to dash you also. All right. So that is it. We've come to the end of the program, and today happens to be a storytelling. And these are our new authors for the week. YPS Express to Impress. Today is eviction free. Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of YPS. Our contestants shared powerful stories with meaningful lessons. Stay tuned for more and keep supporting your favorite contestants. YPS Express to Impress.